Welcome. This is the second in our Encore webinar series. I'm Mark Blevis, the Director of Public Affairs and Marketing with the National Office of Commissionaires in Ottawa. And today we're lucky to have David Schinbein on the line with us. David is a mobile patrol, let me try that again. A mobile patrol security supervisor with our Victoria, the Islands and Yukon division. He played a key role in developing our Home Watch program back in 2012. Prior to joining Commissionaires in 2008, David served with the Royal Canadian Medical Service for 29 years. Today he's here to help share tips on keeping your property safe next time you're away. If you have questions for David during his presentation, please send them to our meeting organizer, Lisa. Say hi, Lisa. I should note, by the way, that where David is right now at our offices in Victoria, there's renovation work underway. So there's a possibility you might hear some banging and drilling and such in the background while David's speaking, but hopefully that doesn't impact your ability to hear him directly. David, over to you, sir.
Well, thank you, Mark, and thank you for the introduction. My talk today will be about our program we call House Watch. House Watch is a program that was designed by the Commissionaires to check on people's homes while they're away for usually a lengthy period of time. And one of the main reasons for doing that, it does bring a significant amount of peace of mind to the people, knowing that their home is being inspected and they're, for example, meeting their insurance requirements to have a vacant home visited. But before we talk about House Watch and how we do it, there are some things that every person going away should consider before they go, and that's protecting your property before you leave. One of the things is itemize your belongings. Itemize the belongings. What are the valuables that you have? Haven't taken pictures of them so that should they be missing or get damaged in any way, there's evidence there for the insurance company when a claim is made. Other things, record the serial numbers and electronics for equipment and sports items. As I said, photograph important pieces of information for description. Use high quality locks to secure outdoor buildings. Many people just buy a cheap lock, put it on, and a simple screwdriver will break it open. So you want to make sure that you've got high quality locks on. Use timers and lights inside the house. Recommended thing is when you're away, you have a timer downstairs that maybe goes off at 9 o'clock because you normally go to bed at 9, then you have one come on upstairs at 9 o'clock and then go out at midnight. So you want to alter those things around. Make sure you cancel your newspaper subscriptions. One of the biggest things to say, come into my house, is a pile of newspapers there, as much as telling everybody around that there's nobody home. And don't post times when you're going to be away on social media. You're better off to give your social media report, if you will, after you come back. Again, putting it out on social media saying, hi, we're going to be away for 2 weeks. You've just advertised that your house is available. With the Commissionaires, we create a custom program, and each person is, or each homeowner is viewed differently. One of the first things that happens is once a house watch is requested, the mobile patrol officer will go visit the house, talk to them, find out what's the important items in their house, what areas need to be checked, is there any vulnerable areas that should be have special attention put to. Doing random security checks. What that simply means is it's not like clockwork. When a house watch is done, it's done at a different time. Again, special attention to important areas. The other thing is we'll build the program based on what your insurance policy says. Some policies say if you're going to be away for, let's say, a month, your house needs to be checked every 3 days. Some say just once a week. Some say between 4 and 5 days. So that you need to confirm. And again, that would be discussed when the patrol officer visits you to set up the house watch program. The other thing too is to we would then provide alarm response. So we would, if you're away, we might have done the house watch visit, but your house has an alarm system that goes off. we'll respond to that to see what's going on and report back. The House Watch service itself, it provides a physical deterrence, a uniform presence. It's been brought up many times, and I've been told when I've patrolled places, they like to see the patrol car in the driveway because that gives the whole community a sense of security, because a physical patrol car is seen there. We can be the direct point of contact if an emergency, for example, there's a bad windstorm and a tree goes through the window. We're there to report it, help with getting maybe some tradespeople in there to fix it. And another one that's actually quite common is so a lot of people sometimes they'll go away or just even be away for the day, and suddenly they can't find their house keys. They know they can always call the commissionaires. If we set up House Watch, we'll have the keys to help you in. So we call that a lockout service. We gladly come and help you out for that. And why would you have commissionaires check your house? One of the big things is that insurance companies do like is commissionaires are bonded, have a reliability check, we're fingerprinted, so they know that that person coming into their house is trustworthy. Another thing too, if there's an alarm response or something happens in the house, it may not be appropriate for friends or neighbors to come in, or the people maybe that were going to respond for you, they're on holidays as well. So it does make a lot of sense to have the commissionaires check your place. Also with our House Watch program, we do have it set up that there's we have a reporting system where you will receive an electronic report, including pictures of important areas or simply just pictures showing you that everything's okay. That will be sent at the end of every visit. Obviously, we'll call the police if needed and secure the house and provide security when tradespeople are required. You may have made your holiday plans, but you still need somebody to come in and clean the furnace. Well, again, you could call the commissionaires as part of House Watch, and we would come and let the person in, supervise them if necessary, and then return to make sure that the house was secure after the tradesperson has left. And some examples of Home Watch: estate patrols. Fortunately, somebody's passed away. Excuse me. Somebody has passed away, and their home is vacant. Well, until the estate is settled, with some, and I've seen cases where it's taken up to 2 years, we would patrol that house on a regular basis again because it is an estate. And as I talked about before, insurance requirements. Again, you talk to your insurance company. How often does it need to be visited? There's special requirements. One is that I distinctly remember is this one gentleman had a garage in behind, and he was a car collector, so some of those vehicles in there were quite expensive, so he wanted to make especially sure that that area was checked. Another one that happens is, let's say you're moving and you've taken a job somewhere else and your house is up for sale, but it's now empty because you've had to move on for your job. Then that house can be checked on a regular basis just to ensure that simple things that the water pipe doesn't break or something, and that there's no damage inside. And regular checks while you're out of the country. And this one is popular for our CF members, Canadian Forces. For our CF members, when they get sent on deployment, they're gone anywhere up to sometimes 6-8 months. And then they have the peace of mind knowing that when they're out serving our country, that their house is safe. So I think that that's kind of important. And just to finish off, we know that we're having issues during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I put a little statistic up here from the Victoria Police Department. In May 2020, there was a 263% increase in break and enters compared to 2019. And that included residence, storage areas, property, and other property areas. And what's interesting too, there's similar statistics are also noted in many other cities in Canada. And I've put a link on there if you're interested to see the statistics from Victoria Police Department. And I'd like to thank you for listening in. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And just in summary, I firmly believe that this House Watch program is incredibly helpful to homeowners, especially when they have to go away. It does give a humongous peace of mind, knowing that when you're away, there's somebody that you can trust to be in there and check your house. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. The staggered light timer suggestion, I think, is brilliant. I think back to the days where timers came out, and I was living at home with my parents. I was a young guy at the time. Still am young, but younger back then. And it seems to me that the lights were all kind of timed at the same time. And I don't recall there being lights on timers on the second floor of the house, just the main floor. And so everything came on, the front of the house and the back of the house came on at the same time, and they went off at the same time. But the staggered light suggestion, I think, is fascinating because it kind of suggests movement through the house.
And that's correct, Mark. That's the whole purpose behind it. When you set up your timers, let's say you have one in the living room and it gets dark around 7 o'clock or whatever, depending on where you are in Canada. And so you'd have the timer come on. That gives the impression somebody's in the living room, or you could have it come on in the rec room in the basement, or you could have it come on somewhere else. If you normally, go to bed about 9 o'clock, you want the timers to go off on the lower levels at 9, come on upstairs at a little after 9 or whatever the times are. And then you'd have it go off maybe 2 hours later, indicating that a person went to sleep. And again, depending on what time it is in Canada and what season it is, you may want it to come on at 7 o'clock in the morning like you're waking up again. So that gives the impression that if anyone was watching the house, the lights are going on at a normal time. That gives the indication that it's occupied. And it's a very, very good deterrent.
One of our colleagues, Chris, was telling me a story recently. I'm assuming he got the story from you, about a house that was actually being watched by on the program, the Home Watch program in Victoria, and somebody had come along and broken a clay flower pot in front of the house. And the suspicion was that this was a test to see if somebody was at home and taking care of it, or if it was just going to be neglected and overlooked because they're away. Is this something that you see often? People, planting what would seem to be a little honeypot to see if there's a vulnerability?
Yes, there's little clues you can see that way too. Something's been knocked down. It hasn't been cleaned up for 2 or 3 days. That's an indication that there probably isn't somebody there. Other ones too is one of the popular ones that just went through Victoria is people were walking up and down the street with a clipboard, and you check anybody that has a clipboard, you assume they're actually doing some type of work. And they would go up and knock on doors and do it at different times, and they were taking notes. Okay, this house isn't here. They would come back down the street once it got dark, and they do the same thing again. Hi, we're doing a survey for whatever. And obviously, if nobody answered it, they would try that 2 or 3 times, and now they've staked your house out. So yeah, those things do happen.
So I have a few more questions that I've teed up, but maybe Lisa, we should check in. Are there any questions from our viewing audience?
Yes, there are. So our first question is from Jeff. It says, thank you, David. Do you know of any similar services applicable to cottage country, areas where are usually quite removed from municipal areas and may be more difficult to access?
Yes, when I was with Great Lakes, Commissionaires Great Lakes, we had out of the Owen Sound area, we had a program we called Cottage Watch. And it was predominantly used in the winter. Like a lot of the cottages, the area I can think of, if anybody knows that part of Ontario, is called Sauble Beach, Ontario. And it basically shuts down in the winter. So we did quite a few where we would check their cottages in the winter. And the big clue is you drive up, and if there's suddenly footprints in the snow, you got something you need to investigate. So yes, it does exist. It would just be a matter of discussing it with the commissionaires. How far out is it? How can we arrange it? Those type of things. But yes, it's entirely possible.
The next question is from Miriam. It says, if a commissionaire were to notice a house is broken into and the homeowner is away and unreachable, what is the procedure in such a case?
First of all, we when House Watch is set up, we establish lines of communication that should something like that happen, we would know how to get a hold of a person. That would go back to when I said where the patrol officer would sit down with you and set all this up before you actually go on holidays. But should a break-in or something like that happen, the commissionaire would call the police, secure the house until the police arrive, they do their investigation, and then secure the house the best we can. If it was something like a broken window, again, at the pre-visit time, we would set up, for example, do you have a particular glass company that you use? The commissionaire then would contact the glass company and secure the site until the glass person showed up. So no, if something like that happens, the commissionaire will stay until that house is secure again.
How important are the insurance policy checks? Like you made note that insurance policies have a clause in them that require a house to be checked. What happens if that doesn't happen?
What can happen is if the house isn't inspected, and let's just use the example of a water pipe breaking and you got 3 weeks of water in your basement. If it hasn't been inspected, there's always a possibility the claim could be denied, in which case you'd be on the hook to fix it up yourself. So there's always that possibility. And again, the wording for what needs to be done will be in the policy. And it will indicate that usually it's called a vacant home clause. And it will be indicated in there how it should be inspected and how often it should be inspected. But the big threat is, especially in parts of Canada that get winter, not like good old Vancouver Island here, but places that get winter, frozen pipes, that's a biggie. So yeah, it is crucial that it be inspected.
All right, lightning round question to wrap up. Is there one thing that homeowners consistently forget in securing their home before they leave on vacation?
I think the single biggest one is not canceling their newspaper, and that builds up. And the other one too is not setting up a system of letting people know when you're away, to have somebody come in and check it. So many people just don't even think about that. So I think it's crucial that, you don't let newspapers build up, you don't make your house look like it's unoccupied, and that you have an immediate level of contact. People go away for 2 weeks holidays, they don't tell anybody, something happens, nobody knows how to get a hold of them. So those things I think are crucial.
It's now 12:50 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.